sharing.
Yeah. So sorry for you guys that are here before. You're probably going to get some repeated information, but this is a really cool building to be in, so pretty lucky to be here, I think. So this is the African Meeting House. It was built in 1806 as the first African Baptist church. It was really important to the African American community that was centered here in Beacon Hill during the 1800s. This community in Beacon Hill formed on the north slope of Beacon Hill, where we are now. And that's kind of contrasted with the south slope of Beacon Hill, which was a really wealthy, elite white community living there. The reason that this community was able to be on the north slope, it was seen as not really a great area. There was a local jail and the red light district nearby, but it was convenient for the elite white people to have the African American population here, because African Americans were really involved in domestic servitude. So a lot of them kind of partnered in that way. This building, like I said, is the first African Baptist church, so it was a really important building for this community as a place of worship, because at this time churches are segregated. So in white churches you have African Americans either not being allowed to attend church at all, or when they are forced to sit in the balcony areas. This was also a community center and a school. The first floor of this building was where African American children were educated until the A. Bill Smith School next door was built in 1835. A lot of public figures spoke here on matters of abolition and women's rights, and also African American rights. Mariah Stewart was a really prominent women's rights activist, as well as African American rights. And she lived actually just down Joy Street. There's a plaque for David Walker's house, and she actually lived there for a time. Frederick Douglass spoke here many times, and these floors are original. So Frederick Douglass actually stood where you're standing, which is really cool. A bit about this building itself. It, like I said, was built in 1806. It hosted the African American community until about the 1890s, when they kind of started to move out. There was a trickle up from the south of free African Americans who were coming into this previously free population. But because this area was already very crowded, we already had several families living in single-family homes, people trying to help each other out. Everyone was sort of on top of each other. So they moved to the Roxbury area. There was a new church there, and the community that was even attached to this church specifically, even if they might not have been in the Beacon Hill area, sort of gravitated towards that. An African American population still resides there now. With the leaving of the African American community, it kind of gave way for an immigrant Jewish population to come in. They faced similar struggles as the African American community, so they were a little bit poor. This was still not a great area, and they were allowed to come in. And this building actually became a synagogue until about the 1970s. And you can actually see the mural in the back is actually a piece from when it was a synagogue. And then in the 1970s, this was a warehouse for a short time, and then it was purchased by the Museum of African American History, and they did this renovation. Something that one of our rangers, she's really into archaeology, anthropology and stuff, and she has talked about that pathway, the patio that we walked in to get here, was actually a garbage dump and a privy for the houses around this area, which is sort of gross, but thinking about it and what they found in there was actually kind of cool. What they found is very few bottles that would have contained alcohol, and from their waste they found that they ate really well. They found evidence that suggests that they were really upstanding members of the community, which is really cool because you think about all the eyes that were on this community and the pressure that was on African Americans and the stereotypes about them during this time and everything. And the evidence shows that these were really upstanding citizens. They wanted to disprove the stereotypes about African Americans by presenting themselves in such a way that was so counter to what people believed that they couldn't hold to those beliefs anymore. So it's really cool about this community, really pushing for that. The restoration of this building made it to what it looks like right now, which is what it would have looked like, almost verbatim what it would have looked like when it was the African Baptist Church, with the exception that there's paint on the walls instead of wallpaper. Like I said, these floors are original. The benches that you're sitting in are replicas of the two original benches in back over here. You can tell they have numbers on the back of them still, and if you sit on them, the benches are a bit narrower, so you can kind of tell the difference, which is cool. The lamps are original also. They would have been oil lamps and then gas lamps. But the cool thing about gas lamps is that it has, the flow for the gas that you can adjust. So when they made it electric, they could actually just, stick the wire through. So it's really pretty authentic, with the exception of, what's giving the light. Yeah. You guys have any questions? Please feel free to look around. You can go up into the balcony. Just please use the stairs that you passed on the way in. The stairs in the back are really narrow, so you don't let people walk on them.
Yeah.
If anyone wants a picture, I'd be happy to take one up to the podium.
Thank you.